Australia Day is an occasion plagued with debate. For some, the 26th of January represents a dark day in the nation's history. It's a day being renamed by many as Invasion Day, symbolizing the magnitude of atrocities committed against the Indigenous population, as well as the theft of their sacred land. For others, it's a day to celebrate everything that embodies being Australian. The poolside antics, a cold stubby in hand, a larrikin attitude, a sizzling barbecue, and more often than not, radio station Triple J's Hottest 100 Countdown. Starting in 1989, the Hottest 100 found a home on January 26th, the same day as Australia Day. Every year, Australia's leading youth radio station Triple J asks viewers to cast their votes on the best songs of the year. Then, on the 26th, the radio station counts from 100 all the way down to number 1 from midday until late to determine their audience's favorite track. While not exclusively consisting of Australian music, the event is often a widely celebrated experience, constituting a major part of the nation's identity.
What? No way! Oh my God! Yeah!
In the last 2 years, Triple J has made the decision to move the countdown from the 26th to a day or two after. This move caused an array of debates and backlash for the radio station, with arguments that the countdown is an Australian tradition and that moving the date would potentially be taking away some of the significance. The fact that the date change has had such a strong ripple effect throughout Australia showcases how the event has seemingly become a strongly embedded part of Australian nationhood. Benedict Anderson's book, Imagined Communities, Reflections on the Origin and Spread of Nationalism, talks of the theory of imagined communities, the idea that we often celebrate a collective spirit or ideology with a group of people without ever seeing them face to face. It suggests that people within these communities share the image of their collective others despite not knowing the majority of them, and that nationalism itself is not an awakening of nations, but rather an invention or creation of nations where they do not exist. This rings true for both radio and Australia in a broader context, as the medium is a way to bring people together without them being in the same room, celebrating a shared passion or ideology. Australia itself is also a relatively young country, becoming an independent nation in 1901. This, combined with Australia's origins and multiculturalism, makes its identity hard to pin down. In this sense, we are a great example of the invention of a nation where one clearly did not exist before, and what better way to bring together a collective nation than with an annual radio countdown where everyone feels involved in the process. While Australia may be a young nation, the actual history behind the country goes much farther back, and this is where social and political debate comes into play.
We're not just going to cop people undermining Australia's National Day. It's for all Australians. All Australians.
Australia Day, known by many now as Invasion Day, is a national event that in recent years has seen substantial public outcry for a change to be made. Stephen Crowell's discussion of the public sphere mentions there has been a recent emergence of social groups or movements, such as the Me Too movement in the US, that make their chosen cause politically urgent. In the city streets across the country, thousands of people march every Australia Day to alert the nation to the tragedies that occurred on January 26th, including the mass murder of the Yura people in New South Wales. People marching shout chants such as "No Pride in Genocide" and the like, claiming that people who defend Australia Day celebrations are simply refusing to acknowledge the nation's muddied history. Australian musicians who are a key part of the countdown mention the joke that Australia Day has become, suggesting that the day ignores the diversity of the nation.
It's just kind of a white Australia piss-up, really, and that's not what it's about. I think the Hottest 100 is, it's music. There's no race in music. I think that's something positive.
There are also people on the other side of the debate who talk of the day as not being about the country's past, but rather the shared and multicultural community that we are today.
Not about what Australia used to be, it's about celebrating togetherness.
Look, I can obviously see the arguments for both sides. I think that if you start a groundswell for it, people will go for it.
This notion of celebrating kinship and the inclusive, universally loved qualities that music offers says a great deal about how the Hottest 100 Countdown can resonate so strongly with Australians and become integrated into their national identity. What is it exactly that makes the countdown such a clear reflection of the present Australian mood? After all, former ABC chairman Justin Milne was notably against the decision of the community radio station to make the date change. It might just be that the countdown's position as a platform for listeners to have their say makes it a prime launching zone for Australians to make a statement, attempt to provoke important and meaningful changes, and shape their national identity for the better. Over the several decades that the countdown has been active, there has been various cases where songs with certain political undertones have made it to the list. Pauline Pants Down, a satirist act performed by drag queen Simon Hunt, made it into the Hottest 100 in both 1997 and 1998. The song Backdoor Man came in at number 5 in the 1997 countdown, featuring samples of divisive Australian politician Pauline Hanson and lyrics that were homosexual in nature. Hanson did not react positively to the track, stating that the song suggested she engages in unnatural sexual practices. Hanson took the issue to court, resulting in the song being banned from being played on the station. Because of this, despite being voted in at number 5 in the countdown, the song was unable to be played on air. Pants Down responded to this with another track titled I Don't Like It. This came in at number 58 on the 1998 countdown. Pants Down's second entry into the Hottest 100 featured lyrics hinting at Hanson having racist ideologies, with lyrics including Why Can't My Blood Be Colored White? More recently, Indigenous rap group AB Original released a song titled January 26, a commentary on the attitude Australians have towards Australia Day and the ignorance they show regarding the violent history behind the date.
No, it just don't mean a thing. Fuck that, homie. You can call it what you want, but it just don't mean a thing. No, it just don't mean a thing.
This polled at number 16 in the 2017 Hottest 100 countdown, a year before the event was moved to a new date. The fact that these songs resonated with Australians enough that they were voted on to a list compiled of the best songs of the year suggests that the message behind these songs are a shared belief, an example of the public sphere working behind the scenes. The Hottest 100 countdown uses public polling to create a sense of community and brings people together across the nation to celebrate music. This gives Australians something to look forward to each year as a part of their national identity. Triple J's decision to change the date from Australia Day not only showcases an act of respect for Indigenous people, but is in itself a clear reflection of the collective Australian mood and a sign that the radio station and countdown are deeply entwined in Australian culture.